So, today we'll go to this automation tool. So this is an automation tool, QTP. Okay. So we'll talk about this a little bit. Okay. We'll not go deep into this. We'll just have a look and have an introduction kind of, and see the reason of QTP, right, in QA classes, because if you are like looking, see, here's the thing, right? Whenever you're looking for a project or a job, right, you want to be open, right? You want to be open. So whatever the requirement comes, sometimes they say like QA with QTP experience, QA, QA 20%, QTP 80%, QA 80%, QTP 20%, or automation. Okay, so, in that case, you can jump in, right? I mean, you don't want to, like, you cannot say, I don't know, this is not, I didn't do anything. Okay, you cannot say that. You can just have a look, have an understanding of 1 hour, 1 day or 2 day class, and, so that will help you out, for that. And you can prepare yourself, right? I mean, you can just, take your time and, you can just prepare yourself too. Okay, so that's the reason having this QTP. So what? Before that, let's say if I have a script, I really don't have a script for QTP, but I have a script for Selenium. Let's see pretty quick. If you can do that. Okay, so here let's quickly run a script. It's normal. This is actually for Selenium. This is Selenium. This is coded in Java, and if you're using QTP, it's Visual Basic. You code in Visual Basic, and but let's see here pretty quick if we can see if this thing is working. We'll see here. If you have to go as a QTP tester, automation tester, or Selenium tester, this is what you'll be going to do. You're not going to write any script or something. You're just want to use that script and pull out the script from from the share drive or from network drive or from any tool, and just put into this tool. This is Eclipse. It's kind of interfacing tool. It's actually where whenever you write a code, you can write a code here in some part. Dump that script. You don't even at this point of time don't even have to write a code. Dump that script here and run the script, and we'll see how that thing works here. Okay. Okay, great. So this is an Eclipse. Okay, this is not a QTP tool, but QTP looks similar. Not same. I would say that same. It's similar tool. Okay. But of course, this is not QTP. But let's see here. This is Java, and we want to run this through JUnit. Okay, so let's see. JUnit is just a package, and we just run it. So let's see here. This is a script, ready-made script, and you also most of the time if you're doing is a QTP tester, or Selenium tester, or automation tester, you will be having the similar scenario. You have the script. You're not going to write a script from scratch or something. Even if you have to do, that's a different thing. That's called automation developer, or QTP developer, or QA developer, so on. Okay, but in this scenario, we are just working on tester. So let's see how this thing works. And I'll just see here. This is my script, and everything is done for me. And I'll just run this script. Let's see how this thing works. Hopefully, this works. So here's the thing, right? You see this my mouse cursor, and I am not using anything. It's just getting it out. Okay, good. So I just put it that way. It opens a browser for me by itself. Okay, I'm not opening any here. If you see this, you look at it, my mouse cursor. I'm not moving it, right? I'm not doing anything. It's doing by itself. You see this? Now it has open Firefox for me. Now it has open Firefox. It goes to that URL. That URL is so it that gets there. Okay, good. So now it went to that website. See here. Okay, good. The web page shows up. Okay. And let's see here, and it's doing by itself. You see this? I'm not doing anything. Look at this, my mouse cursor. I'm just pointing there, so I'm doing nothing. and it's updating its card by itself. And once it gets updated, it's moving there, and I remove that one of this, and that's checked out, and I'm closing my browser after that. That's it, done. So this is how an automation script runs. I hope everyone had a good look at this. Okay, um, and this is my test case, and this test case has successfully passed. You see this green color and no errors. And if you want to do this in your system, this is pretty complicated. This took like at least 1 month for me to understand. In real time too, it will take more than that. And it's a little bit complicated because I use Selenium JDE. I'm sorry, IDE, and you can use only Firefox. And the problem is Firefox stopped supporting for the Selenium. So the way this thing should be done is a little bit different. You need a lot of packages and all those things. So if you have to do, you need to be more onto R&D and developer point of view. But for now, we'll just not concentrate on that. We'll just, but in any case, if you're interested, we can work on this, and we can see how we can get to use this one. Okay, so this is how an automation script works. Okay, so we'll just close this for now. So let's see if people who missed it, we can see here again in between if you can get a chance. Okay, so that's how the demo. That was the demo for an automation script, right? That was a demo. It was just a demo how you ran the script, and everything was coded for you, and you just ran the script, and you were just looking at the results, right? You were looking at the results, what happened after that, what web page it went, all those sort of things. Okay, so that's how an automation tool works, right? That's how the automation tool works. So here we'll talk about QTP 9.2. It's no more QTP. It's the UA. UFT, right? It's UFT. It's Unified Functional Testing. Okay, so this is an old version. So we'll just look, but although being an old version, we'll just look into some of the modules which are similar in the new version too. And I mean, this is not something which is going to change even if you use any pretty random tool. Okay, the system remains. Process remains same. Okay, so that is not going to change, but the interface, the way to do the work, all those things might change, but not the process. So let's look into this, testing process. Okay, so here you have, first you need to prepare to record. So in this scenario, we skipped it, right? When you saw the demo, we didn't record it, but you need to record that. That we'll be doing it separately. Let's, I'll show you that if we have it quickly. Recording, then once you record it, then you enhance it. Enhancing is kind of changing the code. If you saw that code right in the script, that's called script. So you want to change it as per your requirement, you can also do that. Then debugging it, if you find any issues, you can change it. And running this, so far we did running the test and analyzing the result. So we saw that the result got passed. If there is an issue, then you need to report the issues in this automation, right? So let's see here. If we have something to record, we'll be doing this, and this is the record option. So this is Selenium IDE, okay? And this is not QTP, but QTP does similar work. But the only problem is Selenium works only for Firefox. I mean, not really. There are really a lot of add-ins for Chrome too. Maybe you can do in the Chrome too. I'm not exactly sure, but maybe you can find out. I have not worked on that, but yeah, there are so many apps and so many that can also be worked on Chrome. Okay, so this is how testing process works. Well, not just QTP, but for any tool, any automation tool. Okay, let's go to the next. So adding manager, here you have adding manager in QTP. The problem is QTP, cannot recognize everything, right? It's only recognizes, let's say if you're using some web application. Now the web application has so many options, right? You can program to JavaScript, to Python, to Java, and all those things, but it's not necessary QTP recognizes that. So that's the reason you have these add-ins. So that if you put this add-in, now it can able to recognize that, because although this being a front-end application, front-end tester, front-end tool, it's really not necessary, to recognize it, because if you don't have these options, okay, that's the reason you need this. It's like ActiveX, Visual Basic, where no other add-ins such as Java, SAP. So with this add-in, you can able to recognize those applications developed through this. Okay, languages. Let's go to the next one. And you have three types of recording modes. There is normal recording, analog, and low-level recording. In the normal recording, you record this normal, normal keys, OK button, delete buttons, and all those radio buttons. In analog recording, you are trying to record something kind of, which are used keyboards, like kind of tab, all those things is done in analog level. And if you're doing low-level recording, low-level recording is kind of, let's say, right-click. So you see this right-click buttons. Now, when you're working on applications, let's see here. So sometimes, okay, this is left-click, this is fine. Okay, we are going this is normal recording. Let's say if we put right-click, there are some other options too here, right? So if you see here, here is different, and here if you see this is different, right? So that's how there's some applications which actually requires the right click and move forward, something like that. So that's how you want to do low level recording too. So that's that's an example. Okay, that's types of recordings actually. Now the run modes, you have two types of run modes: normal and fast. Okay, so let's see here. Okay, let's take this a better view here. Okay, very good. Let's see here. So this is, we'll go one by one, each buttons here, what it does and what actually it is. Okay, and let's see here, this thing works. Okay, good. So this is, title bar, we all know this is the title bar. Okay, and this is menu bar where you have file, edit, this is called menu bar actually in any tool. If you have file, edit, those are called menu bars. And this is file toolbar, like this. Okay, so that's a shortcut. Actually, normally that's a shortcut for that, right? It's called file toolbar. Okay, and then you have this debug toolbar where you have debug options. So when you are in the script, when you want to debug it, which line you have to go, which part you have to troubleshoot, that's called debug. And this is testing toolbar. Again, this is a shortcut. The reason why I'm saying shortcut, because all these options will be there in somewhere in the middle bar. Okay. But here, for your ease of convenience, they have put a separate bar here. It's called testing toolbar, and you have this all the options here: record, run. Okay, and then this is the action toolbar. So we'll go, we'll talk about this action. So what is exactly an action? So here, for ease of understanding in layman language, action, we can call it a worksheet. Worksheet, right? When you open something, it's an empty space to write something, right? That thing you can call it as action. It's really not appropriate word for action, but we'll just take it as a for an ease of understanding. Okay, so that's because you have to write a code. Let's say you want to write a code. Where would you write it? You need some space, right? So that's action. Okay, and there's a lot of things you can do with actions. We'll talk about that. And this is a testing pane. Okay, this testing pane, this is actually keyword view. Actually, you have two views in this. One is keyword view and the other is expert view. Okay, in expert view, all the code, we have seen the code, right? So that is, that's how it looks like. And in keyword view, this is how it looks like. And this is called data table, where this is Excel, it's kind of Excel. Not really Excel, this is Excel for QDB. Okay, whenever if you want, so why do you really need this? So let's say if you want to do some parameterization, we'll go through that parameterization in detail. So we want to, remove some of the, values and put a variable and say QTP, why don't you look into this data table, and then you can run the script. So that's how, we work with parameterization. Okay, so that's the reason you need this. Okay, that's the reason you need this data table. And then this is active screen. Whatever you're trying to do, this shows up in this active screen. Okay, so let's go one by one here. Now, in this, let's say you know this, right? File, edit. This has almost in every tool. Okay, this menu bar, and let's talk about this. So this is to open a file. If you want to create a new file, you can use that one. And this is to open a file, existing file. Let's say you have written something and you're opening an existing file, you can use that one. And this floppy disk, this is save icon, you can save it. And this is to print it. If you want to print it, you can use that one. And let's go here. And this is quality center connection. Okay. The reason you need this, because let's say right, I mean, see, there are there's automation developer, a lot of people who develop the code and a lot of things. You're a tester, you'll be just running the code, okay? So what you'll do is you need to get that script, right? That code, how the code you have written, that script has to be there somewhere, or you need to pull out the script. That's the reason this is, you need to connect that and get it, as HPLM, this kind of HPLM. You can connect that and bring this script which is stored in that location and pull out and put it in the script and put it in the here, and you can run it. That's the reason you need this. This is for quality center connection, any test cases or any scripts what is there. Test scripts, normally not test cases, test scripts. That script you can pull out here and put it here and run the script. That's what the reason of it. And this is called object repository. Okay. See, so what's an object repository? So you know what? Let's talk about this. Before going to this object repository, so QDB only recognizes anything in the web page. Let's say this is a web page or this is an application, and if you want QDB to recognize anything here, problem is QTP only recognizes to objects. Okay. So can anyone tell what is an object? Object in a software point of view. Can anyone know what is an object here? So an object is something which is, which has both property and value, right? property and its value. Let's take an example here. Let's say QTP have to understand this button. Now you are clicking this button, but how would QTP know that you are clicking this button? Of course, you're doing recording playback, so that is easy because all these properties and values are stored in the object repository. That's fine. But to understand QTP, to click this button, so I'm saying like I want to click this button. Okay, QTP recognizes through only with the property and its value. So what is this property here? Let's see here. This has length. Okay, that's a property. Height. This has height. Doesn't have breadth because it's the 3D button. Okay, so there's no breadth here. So here's height and length. Okay, that's fine. But unfortunately, all the three buttons here have the same height and same length. So it's very hard to recognize which is the button, but it has a unique value. Here it is called enter GMO online. That's the title of that button. Okay, title of the button is enter GMO online. So that is how, if you enter that code here, or enter that unique value for that, then QTP recognize, okay, this is what I need to do. This is what I need. This button I need to click, and it clicks here. Okay, so that's how QTP recognizes only with properties and its values. Let's see here pretty quick here, we can see. So here we cannot see everything, but we'll just look at. So here you see this is a property. Just like input type, it's a button name. This is a property, and what is the value? Be submit. Okay, value is, and the actual title of this button is enter GMO online language JavaScript. Okay, so this is what it is. Okay, this is the property, and these are values put here. But this is not a good way of recognizing the object. You need to use object spy for that. This is an object spy. Okay, so that's how that is what you call object proper. This is object repository. It is called object repository. Why do you need this? Because you need to store all the objects, right? There's all the buttons. If you're clicking this button, it has to get stored at some place. Okay, this button property and its value has to store somewhere. Where does it stores? It stores in object repository. That's what it is. Okay, that's how PDP recognizes. Okay, and the next we go this man with the hat guy. You see this man with the hat? So that's called is object spy. Let's say if I click on that guy and click on this button, I get list of all property and values of that button. Okay. You stop looking here in the code. This is the code, right? This is the code. But instead of looking at the code, it's really not a good idea to look at the code because it may not give all the information what is there. But if you look click on object spy, this guy, and click on this, it gives more information like what is the title, what is the x-axis, what is the y-axis, what is the performance, what's the HTML tag, and all the information it shows for you. Okay, so that's that's the use of this object spy. Okay, if it's a debug, here this is the debug toolbar. If you want to debug your code, you can use this. These options are disabled because this only enables once you're working on the code. So that's about debug toolbar. And let's go to the next one, testing toolbar. Here, if you record, if you want to record, this is the option record. Okay, that records and which page is navigating, how it's navigating, all those things it gets recorded. And this is run. Once you record that, it gets script is generated, right? Now, if you have to run it, you have to use this run, right? That's the use of this. And if you want to stop, and this is disabled, so you can also stop in between. this is enabled only when you're running the script. Okay, so if you can stop in between, you can use that one. And this is action and split action. An action, it said that we talked about this action, this kind of worksheet, and you can split this. Okay, so we'll talk about this in detail moving forward. You can also split it. Split the action. That means you want to do it locally or internally or externally, or you want to make it. You can make it library file and you can dump it into a library. So that's the reason use of so temporary action or permanent action. You can make this. So that's for use of this. And the next we'll go to this two things. This is start transaction time and end transaction time. So the use of this is, let's say you are trying to navigate this web page, right? You're going to web page, one after the other, but you want to see that how much time it has taken, how much time it is taking to navigate from one page to next page, and how much how much time it has taken, how much you want to know the granularity of that particular movement of the page, right? So that's called start transaction time and end transaction time, where you can start and end particular place so that you can understand what's going on with the response, what is the response time, what is the transaction time, all those things. Okay, you can find out with this. And this is two is analog and low level recording. Okay, and this, okay, so in this test pane, right, you have this, these are the objects basically. Okay, so these are the objects, and this an item, and this is the operation you're trying to perform with that objects. Like you're trying to click that button, if it is so if it is, let's say if it is a button, then see this is a click. This option will be click, and if it is a drop down, then you want to see this is will be a select, and if it's a radio button, then it will be a set. Set. So this is how this is the operation that you're performing with the particular object. The object can be anything, right? So this is the operation you're performing with that object, and this shows what's the value for that object. Okay, actually the value of that object. Okay, and the description of that particular object. What's trying to do and what you're performing on that. Okay. So that's about this test pane, and this data table, as I told you, this data table is used for your parameterization to enter the data. When you enter this data, it performs various iterations. Okay. Okay. So various iterations it performs based on the data. Okay. So we'll work on that with the parameterization. So go once we are going to that. And this is the active screen, what you're trying to perform, this shows up here. And if it is also checkpoint here, you see this checkpoint, this is actually the purple color. There is, if you're using some checkpoint, that means checkpoint in sense you're trying to highlight it. And you're viewing it manually. You're not just not something automatic, just manual. If you're highlighting the QTP highlights for you, just like this, here it's see this, that field is highlighted with purple color, so that's called checkpoints. Okay, so this is a brief description of that different buttons and in the use in the QTP. Any questions here in this? So there will be more information than this, but this is just an, just to have some introduction on this. Okay, so let's go to the next slide then. So we'll try to see that and then try to run that again. Okay, that Selenium script and see, if some people who have missed that demo, we can look into it again and have some brief understanding. So here's the thing: how do we create test? So here test cases you can create. Now these test cases are different. Okay, this is not related to manual testing. So we has to do manual. But here you need to create for the automation test cases, right? For the automation test cases are different, and you need to create automation test cases. Okay, so the object repository. We talked about this object repository. It used to store the object properties and its values. Okay, you can create your own. Here you have this option, new object. You can create your own object and start typing the property and values. Okay, it's really not necessary to create any object because it's really good. You want to import of the objects that would be there because manually it's creating an object really it doesn't help that much, but still you can create if you know how the application is, how the application objects are designed and all those things. So in that case you can create your support. Okay, so that's the object repository. Object spy, we talk about this object spy. Object spy is to display the properties and values of the object. We don't know what is the property and values, right? So that's the reason you need to display and have to show up, right? One way is I told you you can go to the code and see look into the code, but that's really not a good idea because when you're doing testing, you don't want to look to the code point of view. You want to look, as a QA point of view, right? So in that case, you want to use this object spy and see what are the properties and values for that particular object. So how QTP test recognizes an object? So there are three major properties: that's mandatory properties, assistive properties, and ordinal identifier. Three major uh, properties that QTP recognizes it. And usually only a few properties needed to uniquely identify an object. So I told you this right before. So if you want to, let's say if QTP wants this button to identify, all the three properties and values for this three buttons are same, right? The same height, same length. The only different and unique value is the title of this button. What is the title of this button? Enter GMO online. This is the title of that button, and here about the GMO site. So these three titles of this button are different. Okay, that's how QTP is able to identify for that property. Okay, so that's what it means. Only few properties required. Once you identify, if you put the exact property and value, then it's able to recognize that button. So that is used for coding. Okay, not as a if you're record and playback, you're using record and playback. You will not be using that too much. But if you're using for descriptive programming, you have to use that. Okay. So next we'll talk about the synchronization. So so let's say here, why do we need this synchronization here? So synchronization is right. Let's say if you're using this, let's say I'm clicking this button, but when I'm clicking that button, it's taking a little bit more time, right? So there might be some server issue or something, but that's really taking some time to move from one page to another page, right? And that's some server point of view, hardware point of view. Okay, so but QTP doesn't know that it's an it's some issue, some hardware issue or something like that. Okay, QTP doesn't know. If it doesn't get in some millisecond or something, the test result gets failed. Okay, that gets failed, and it throws an error. Okay, it throws an error, but really that's not an error, because you can able to move the next page after some time. So you know what? So that's what you need to tell QTP, that you need to wait, right? You need to wait. So there is a command. So there is a command called wait. Okay, wait, and you put in brackets 10. You see this? That means you're telling QTP to wait for 10. That means 10 seconds. Okay, so that's the reason you need this synchronization. Okay, so let's see here the code. So here, this is a window. Window in sense of, this is a window, right? This is a window pop-up. Pop-up we call as error window. Let's say if it is this. Let's say if let's see if we find pops. So if there is an error, it's called. Let's say if I'm using this something else, this is a pop-up window, right? So this is also window. So this is called window. Okay. This is called window, and what the window's name is, this is flight. Okay. So what's the window's name? That's called flights. And dot win button. Win button means, let's say here, this is buttons, right? So this is called win button. Let's see here. So this is the win. This is the window. Win button. Win button is kind of, it's a window, so that's why it's called win button. And OK button. So that's what here you don't have. Okay, it's update order button, and dot wait property in enable. So this is how you write the code whenever you're writing a code. Okay, so here's a sample code for synchronizing the test. Okay, so let's move to the next one. Next we have checkpoints. So checkpoint is to, as you see here, right? It's a verification point, and you want to check manually. So this is about checking manually. Manually in sense, there's the purple color highlighted for you, and we will be looking into into that action window. As we saw that window, right? You can either be looking into that, or when it is running up, you can see that purple color highlighted. So that's called checkpoint. So there are various types of checkpoints. The standard checkpoint. So standard checkpoint is like, if you don't know anything what's a checkpoint, then you use the standard checkpoint. Let's say if you want to highlight this text, you can use standard checkpoint. And image checkpoint. Let's say you're trying to highlight this image, then you can use the image checkpoint. This table checkpoint. So this is a table, right? So this is actually a table. This is the table. Okay, let's see here. Its only thing is we cannot see that. Okay, if you want to see here, so you see this. There's a table border 0. So this is a table. Okay. Now the thing is, this is a different story. It's invisible to us, but here you can see this now, right? This is a table. If you want to highlight that, you can call it that table checkpoint. And if you are highlighting the whole page, then it's called as page checkpoint. Okay, if you want to highlight the text, this text is called text checkpoint. And if you want to do is the text area, the area between the text is called text area checkpoint. And this bitmap checkpoint is like, if it is any images, it's called bitmap. For the checkpoint with the images is a bitmap checkpoint. And there is something called database checkpoint. If you are connecting to the database and you want to view how much the database, what are the values in that, then you can use database checkpoint. Okay. So again, these slides are already there, in the Google Drive. If you guys are interested, you can view into that. Okay. So, okay, let's talk about these parameters. Okay. Now we want to do this parameterization, right? We want to work on this parameterization. Now, so what is a parameterization? Okay, parameterization is like you have that constant value, you're making it that constant to variable and assigning various values for that variable. Variable one for that variable is 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. Okay, this is a constant. This is just constant, and you're assigning the constant to a variable because you don't want that constant, and because that constant keep on changing. When it's keep on changing, um, you want to use that as a variable and insert various values, right? So that's the reason of having parameterization. Okay, let's see here. If you see here is a flight from and this is an operation. The value is London. Here you want to remove this London and put and some variable called item. You see this the item, and you want to insert into that sheet saying that not just London, we want various options: London, France, Germany, and so on. So let's see here how does that work. So if you want to remove this and put, you have this option, right click and you get this parameter, and once you click this, you want to configure this. This is the constant, and you're instead of putting that constant, you put this parameter. And you're saying, where do you have to look for this? This is a data table. That means a data table of QTP. And what is the name? You're giving some name, and you check. You're taking here as global sheet. And once you do that, here you see this in this sheet. You're changing it and putting here from to, and here you're changing as London. It was only London. Here now we have 4 variables: London, Paris, Denver, again Paris. Okay. Now here are actually parameterizing two variables here. That's from and to. Okay. Now what happens with that parameterization is, right, now this will run into various 4 iterations. Okay, there's 4 values, 4 different values for one variable. It runs into 4 iterations. Okay. It runs for 4 different iterations. Once it has ran, you know, let me give you an example here. So let me give you a better example to understand here. Let's say if you want to use this, so let's say you're trying to record it, right? Let's say you're recording this, okay? Once you have recorded it, and I'm recording with the 10, that is all values put. And once you put here, and you just put this again. And once you put this, place an order. So let's say I have recorded this, right? I have recorded this, but this you have recorded only once. You need to run for many 100 customers, not just one. This is one customer, right? You need to run this for 100 people. So what you want to do here, you want to do is parameterization, because you're not going to record 100 times. You're doing recording once. That's it, once. But you want to check the different values instead of this name, the other customer's name, and that's the reason you remove this name and put name and enter some values into this. So that's what you're doing here. Okay, you want to change for 100 customers the same day. It has to, that application goes running on, and it checks for 100 people. Okay, so that's the reason of having parameterization. Any questions so far in parameterization? So once you run it, and once it is, once it has been ran, the report is generated, and this is how the result summary looks like. Okay, and it will be get stored in particular directory wherever it is being installed. Okay, it gets stored in that place. Okay, so let's move to the next one. Okay, so here are the types of actions. So here we saw about this action, right? So here this action is two types. That's regular action and reusable actions, non-reusable action and reusable action. So in non-reusable action, that means you'll be using once and that's it, done. Okay, you cannot use the second time. And the reusable action is you can use multiple times. And the reason here is, let's say if you want to, you're calling some function in middle of your script, right? And you want to reuse it. So you want to dump that function into the library file and reuse it. That's the reason of having reusable action. Okay. Again, action. What is action? In layman's language, we can call it as a worksheet. Okay. It's just a worksheet where you have to write your script. Now, this is reusable action can be used locally and externally. Local instance in your system in local. That's it. External instance in the whole network drive. It's shared by all your the company people, shared by that's called locally or external. So this is how. Okay, so this is how you can either you can call action in the menu bar. This is the menu bar, and you can click on the option, and you can use this action. This is about the action. Okay, so let's go to the next topic here. Recovery scenarios. So why do we need this recovery scenario, right? And let's say you have the script. You have seen the script, right? Let's say people who have missed. Let's show you once again. Okay. So let's say you have that script, right? And that script takes, let's say here it took just not even 20 minutes. I'm sorry, not just 2 minutes or 1 minute. That's it. But when you're running the script, it might take 40 hours, 30 hours, 40 hours plus, right? Now, if it's taking that long time, okay, then and if you see some issues like if there is an issues from hardware point of view or any software point of view, okay, and let's say the server, there's some server issue and they are getting some pop-up window, right? And you're running the script for 40 hours, and once you're running that script for 40 hours, if you get some pop-up, now that that script gets failed, right? And the whole time, like if you have run for 30 hours, that whole 30 hours got failed. So what you want to do here is you want to tell QTP, let's say tell QTP that if there is some pop-up windows, ignore it and run the remaining script. We will talk about that later. So that's how you're telling QTP that ignore that pop-up and run it the remaining script. Okay, so people who have not seen, this is how the script. This is that QTP script. This is the JavaScript. If you're running this, if you see this, this running is simple. It just takes hardly a minute, but in real time, it will take more than it depends upon the project level, and it might take up to hours, 40 hours, and when it's taking that long of time, that amount of time, then you don't want the script to be failed, right? And this is what I'm showing. This is the demo actually. The people who have missed previously, so I'm just showing it now again. So it opens a Firefox for you, and it runs now. Whatever is running, it's there in the script. Okay, so already it's everything is put in the script, and we are just running that script, and it's opening for us that particular website, and it's running. Okay, so whatever it's doing, it's automatic actually. Okay, everything is doing for me. So you don't. So the reason of having this, um, this is running for you, and this is once it's done, it will close the Firefox for you. Okay, so that's how the even QTP script runs a similar way. Okay, so once if there is an error or something between the script gets failed. Here we are lucky we didn't get any fail here. Okay, this test case got passed. Okay, but you don't want to get failed, right? You don't want to. So that's the reason you want to use this recovery scenarios. Three types: trigger events. Okay, recovery operation, post recovery run option. So if here's the example again, right? Pop-up window. If there is a pop-up window suddenly showing up, it might be not there in the script, might be not there, it was some server issue or something. So you're telling QTP to don't stop, don't give an result, and instead of that, just run that remaining script. Okay, and later you can figure it out what's the pop-up window about. Okay, so that's the these types of recovery scenario. Okay. So here you have three types, that is trigger event, recovery option, post recovery run option. So in that way you can specify the QTP saying then what to do if there's some issue in between the scripts when you're running like 40 hours of scripts. Okay. So any questions so far? Okay, so let's look into this code, okay? Let's have a look in 2 minutes with this code. So this is a code for if you have to write a code, this is the code, right? So, but this is the Java code, okay? Not so you just not worry on this. Okay, and let's say if you have to see the reason you want to write, so this is called descriptive programming. Okay, this is what we are talking about is descriptive programming. Why do we need this? So you have record and playback, right? So now that thing doesn't work when the application is dynamic. When the web application is dynamic, record and playback doesn't work. Why? Because the application icons keep on changing, buttons keep on changing, different values, different parameters, and all those things are different. It becomes really hard. So what you want to do is descriptive programming. Okay. So what you do in descriptive programming is you are giving the property and values in the code itself. Let's see how do we do this. Okay, there's a window. So let's see. Okay, so here let's take an example. Here this is you just place in okay, this, And if I'm saying here, putting some value. So this is a window. Okay, this is actually pop-up windows, but here we call it this is a window. Okay. Now error, of course, this is an error window. Here there has to be some name like error. So that's what it was saying about error. Okay, this doesn't show up here, but it's supposed to be there. Win button. Now win button means they're talking about this button. Okay, this is called win button. And text, there's a property of that button is called text and value is okay. Okay, that's right. This is a property. What the property of this is text, okay, and the value is okay, okay. And what you're trying to do, okay, so this is the width. So width of that button is 50, okay, good. And dot click. So what you're trying to do is click. That's what you're trying to do. Okay, so that's how this one line code means. Okay, that's how you need to interpret on this QTP code. This is based on program. I mean, this is VB, no Visual Basic, VB scripting actually. Okay, so if you want to code, you can. You have to code in that one. Okay, so this is the one line code for an pop-up window. Okay, this is how it looks like. Any questions so far? So if you want to try QTP, you can try it. I'm not sure. So there's actually, there's a software actually I put in Google Drive. Try downloading it. Maybe it works. It's a trial version though, but try it. If it works, it's good. But not exactly sure if it works because it's been a long time. Um, there's been a lot of changes recently, so it's been. If you look into this Google Drive, so if you go to the assignment, sorry, 24 software, you see this automation tools. You click on that, and you see this QTP unloader or QTP, and you have P12.51. This might be old, pretty old. One, I'm not sure. You can download it and try to see if it works. Okay, but it's really that's a little bit complicated. Although it does, I don't think it requires a database. But you can try it. If it works, that's good. Okay, and you can try to use it and see how it works for you. Okay, so once it goes, and also right, if you have done that, and if you want more information, right. So let's see here. So if you have seen my syllabus, right? You see syllabus here. So, and if you need some tutorials on this, if you want to see here, this is one. Okay, so you can have a look to this all the tutorials. There's a lot of tutorials here. Um, Good QTP tutorials. just like a lot of tutorials. There's almost like 82 tutorials, and you can view and just okay. And I mean, if you're trying to download QTP and try to see this, we can use this one. Just go help you out so what to do and how you need to proceed. Okay. If you're really looking on QTP. Okay. Uh, but the QTP has a trial version there. If you're installing it, it will be only works for 30 days. So make sure you want to do it. Okay. So, but if you're looking for open source, then Selenium should be good. So I'll be sending you, some information. If you want Selenium, I do have the Selenium IDE. Once you install it, just an add-in option actually for Firefox. When you install it, you can do that recording and playback in Selenium too. Okay, you can just see this record option, and you can record it here, and you can run it here and see this. And best part is you can import this. I'm sorry, you can export it. Export a lot of options here: Ruby, Python, Java. Okay, that's what I did. That's what I did for as I showed you in Eclipse, right? That's what I did. I recorded this through the Selenium. Um, Selenium IDE, and then I put that code into that Eclipse and just ran it. Since it is an open source, it was free, but it's a lot of working out for it. It might not work for first attempt because a lot of codes and a lot of Firefox is being a lot of changes there. So but you can try. I can send you the some tutorials on Selenium too if you are interested. You can get it. Have a look on it. Okay. So tomorrow is our last class. Okay, so tomorrow we'll just have some look on various certifications and see. And we can also look in TFS and see how we can use the team foundation server. Any questions so far? Okay, if no one has any questions, can we close this class for today? So you all guys are getting that homeworks and video recordings, right? Um, so I've been sending this. I hope you guys are getting it. Okay, thank you guys.